Colonel Sharp regarded that as a wise strategy. "We'll have to begin without him. The vicar from St. John's Church is taking the service. We can't keep the good padre waiting. Got to keep friendly relations between old allies, especially when you remember the sacrifices these folk round here made back in '44. Dorinda pursed her lips. The hardships of a few English villagers 50 years ago didn't concern her. Her husband's unexplained absence did. "Look, Dorinda, Norman's all grown up now. He can take care of himself. We should be at the memorial by 1:45. Dorinda looked round at the group waiting by the hotel door. The subdued veterans and the smartly dressed chattering wives. She would go without Norman. The colonel was right. Norman was grown up. He could do what the hell he liked. She caught the eye of a tall, white-haired man who was hovering at the edge of the waiting group. She thought, not for the first time, how distinguished Todd Werringer looked in his smart navy-blue blazer and slacks. Not like Norman, who never had that darn baseball jacket off his back. She smiled sweetly. Todd Werringer smiled back and winked. "Shall we go without him, then, Dorinda?" said Colonel Sharp impatiently. "He's probably out reliving a few old memories. He knows the lie of the land round here. He won't get himself lost. He'll probably make his own way to the service." "Sure. Let's go." Dorinda turned and marched towards the door, her hand brushing Todd Werringer's as she passed. Monday, 11 a.m. The chantry chapel of St. Denis, founded by Sir Roger de Carrère in 1263, had stood ruined and overgrown at the edge of the village of Berriton since its closure by Henry VIII in 1545. It slumbered amid its weeds like Sleeping Beauty's castle, being of use only to courting couples, while the village's spiritual needs were taken care of by the ancient parish church of St. John, a few hundred yards away. Neil Watson, of the County Archaeological Unit, was planning to awaken the ruins from their sleep. He parked his rusty Mini in a wide part of the lane leading out of Berriton and walked back the few yards to the overgrown pathway that led to the chapel. Neil liked to be early, to have a chance to look around the site of an excavation before his colleagues and their equipment arrived. He liked to take in the atmosphere of the location, to imagine the events, the people, the emotions that had shaped the place before he started dissecting the evidence of its past. He was relieved to see that the path to the chapel was passable, kept that way by curious walkers and young lovers from the village. He passed through a crumbling archway into the body of the roofless nave, its floor covered by patchy grass, its walls shoulder height to the left, but much taller to the right. The windows of the chapel's east end, though empty of their tracery and jewelled glass, were remarkably intact. A half-crumbling tower still stood proudly at the west end. The chapel must have been quite a place in its day. Neil strolled towards the east end, kicking an empty plastic bottle. Here and there the ground was littered with cans, cigarette packets, and the occasional used condom. How the youth of the village would miss this place when the site was fenced off for the excavations. They would have to use their ingenuity to find somewhere else or spend the next few months pursuing chastity and useful hobbies. Neil knew which option he would have chosen at their age. At first he thought the dark shape in the southeast corner of the channel was a pile of old clothes, dumped there by an environmentally unaware villager. But as he drew nearer, he saw the pile had a human shape. "Shit!" he mouthed, looking down at the elderly man, who lay before him on the ground. A baseball cap was stuck firmly on the head, and the jacket that proclaimed the name of some American sports team looked bizarrely inappropriate for someone of the dead man's advanced years. He stood over the body and stared at it, willing it to go away, or wake up and transform itself into a drunken vagrant, anything that wouldn't disrupt his well-planned dig. Neil delved into the pocket of his shabby wax jacket.